Hello, this is Dimo from Tibco Jaspersoft. Today I would like to demonstrate how to configure Talent Administrator Center, also known as JasperETL TAC, for data integration job deployment. After watching this video, you will be able to navigate through TAC UI, in particular assign user roles required for job deployment, check license details, and configure job server for future data integration job execution. So let's say you've just installed TAC and you're logging in for the first time. So the UI looks like this. By default, you're only assigned a security administrator role. Now let's see what are the options we have. So in order to have the ability to configure all the options in TAC, as well as configure job server, you'll need to assign additional roles. Now we can learn more about that in Talent Administrator Center User Guide, Chapter User Roles in the Administrator Center. So basically, we'll need to have Security Administrator, Regular Administrator, and Operation Manager role assigned. That's just what we're going to do. First of all, you need to select Data Integration Type for user, and then we'll assign Administrator and Operation Manager. Click Save. This will allow us to have extended configuration menu as well as conductor. Before we move on with configuration and conductor menu, I would like to talk a little bit about licenses. Just go to licenses menu. So we can see here is that I'm running version 6.4. You can see when my license expires. But the main thing I want to talk about is data integration concurrent users over here, and general number of users allowed in your license. This means that I could only have one data integration type user, and it's not concurrent. So for example, if I try to log in user another client session, TAC will not allow me to do that. Be an admin. So if you can see, I get an error message, which means that someone else is already logged in using this credentials. I will also get a warning, like an error message, if I try to add another user with data integration type. You can see that error message, it says that we have 2 data integration users, but our license only allows to have 1. So we'll have to delete this test user and continue with configuration and job conductor setup. Okay, now that we are familiar with basic users management and license restriction, let's move on to job server configuration. So we're gonna go to configuration menu, job conductor. So here I would like to configure path to my future generated jobs folder and tasks log folder. My backend is on Linux. I have used all-in-one installer, so I have a separate folder for my job server, and that's where I'm gonna create those 2 folders for generated jobs and my tasks logs. Okay, that's enough for configuration menu. Now it's time to define our job server. So go to servers, click add the server. So I'm gonna name my job server localhost, job server, localhost. I'm gonna leave the default command port, file transfer port when touring unchanged. I'm gonna click save. Of course, I need to make sure that my job server is up and running. So if you're on Windows and if you have used all-in-one installer, most probably you have those running by default, but on Linux looks like you have to manually start the job server. Okay, so as you can see, the job server is up and running. There's some indication of the CPU load. Alright, that's it for this video. I wanted to point out that having corresponding user permissions and job server configured is enough to be able to add projects and deploy simple jobs that don't rely on version control systems. However, if you're utilizing Git or SVN for your deployment, you'll probably also have to set up at least command line server. Please refer to Talent documentation for further instructions on this topic. Next video, we'll discuss how to work with projects menu and deploy data integration jobs in TAC. We will build ETL job with JasperETL Studio and run it in TAC. Thanks for watching.